Is there another plate?
Choo choo!
Yeah.
Oh wait, I got an idea.
Dakota has all the plates underneath his plate.
I do have all the plates on my plate.
Yeah.
She's getting the beat.
Ready?
Well, it is officially time for the third or fourth time officially to make the final official list of what needs to be checked off to get the Bumpside diesel on the road, officially. Come on, you're okay. It's all right. Come on, 26. She won't. You gotta tell her 47. You gotta tell her let me scratch her neck. It's okay. Nothing's gonna happen. Tell her. Oh. "26, you gotta let me scratch your neck. Come on. Nothing's gonna hurt you. You're okay. It's all right. Come on. Here comes 47. She doesn't mind at all. You let me scratch you anywhere, huh? Where's your baby at? Where's your baby at? We are just days away from winter solstice and Christmas of 2024, and I'm still trying to get this cabin done. Well, my goal for this week is to continue to get as many of these logs set over here on the 8-sided cabin as I possibly can, but to also put some time into the Bumpside diesel. The more that I work with the angle grinder and the small chainsaw making these log notches fit as tight as I can, the better I get at fitting these notches. But the bottom line is I've still never been able to get more than 4 of these logs set in one day. And if you do the math, either I need to find a way to speed up or I'm going to be here for a while. So at the moment, I'm fairly confident we're going to need somewhere around 85 logs to finish the 8-sided cabin. I stopped paying attention to the tape measure a few days ago. My goal is simply to get the logs as tight as I can get them while keeping the logs as straight up and down as I can get them. Using the angle grinder with a carbide blade, I can get these notches carved down to where they're literally precision tight, but it just takes forever to get it done. Well, clearly this little buck can't wait to have a grown-up size set of antlers. He rubs his antlers on anything around here he can find. So the rule on the Bumpside is either I can work on it in the evenings or I gotta wait until it snows, and it happens to be snowing, so it's a good time to work on the Bumpside diesel. But we're down to the detail work, and that starts with getting the dual battery setup figured out for the 7.3 IDI. So the passenger side battery tray, which is standard on these trucks, can be found for as little as $35. But the driver's side battery tray, which was not standard, is going to cost you around 5 times more than the passenger side battery tray, so I ordered 2 of the passenger side, and I'm going to modify one to make it fit the driver's side. And when I'm done, the average person won't even know it. So I can see that in order to make this passenger side battery tray work on the driver's side, I'm going to have to drill out the spot welds, remove both brackets, and basically reverse the bends in the brackets, and then reattach it to the base. I could have easily bought some aftermarket battery trays and mounted the batteries basically anywhere I wanted to on this truck, but I'm trying to keep the truck looking as close to stock as I can. When I'm done doing any sheet metal work on this truck, especially if it's underneath or somewhere where it could potentially rust in the future, I try to go over it with a rust inhibitor, and then I use that black undercoating to bring everything together. So using my favorite ball peen hammer that I found at the junkyard about 5 years ago, I got everything flattened out the way that it needs to be, so now I can rebend it to fit the driver's side. The sheet metal is soft enough that really no heat is required, but very carefully I reverse the bends on both of those brackets. I've said it before and I'll say it again, but it ain't the tools that make the man. If I ever learned how to use my shop properly, I'd build a welding table so a project like this doesn't have to be done on the floor. But either way, we got it done. As I said before, anywhere I do any metal work, I prefer to seal it up with some black paint and then use that undercoating, which brings everything together so nicely. Okay, so after removing those brackets, bending them to the opposite side and relocating them on the pan, it is now a mirror image of the passenger side, and it went in perfectly. Well, lucky for me, it stopped snowing, which means I get to get over here on the 8-sided cabin and see if I can get a few more logs stacked up. I have found that taking my time while scribing the logs and making sure all of my marks are visible and easy to see when I'm running the chainsaw saves me a lot of time in the end. Because I have a limited number of these logs, I'm really doing my best to take my time to slowly work up to these notches so I don't waste or damage any of these logs beyond repair. By the end of the day, it feels like I'm still running the angle grinder even when my hands are empty. But as the logs are slowly starting to pile up, I love the way that these logs are stacking, and it really looks beautiful. Have I mentioned how much I enjoy a nice warm fire on a cold day? I prefer to use these lighter weight, smaller angle grinders instead of the bigger, more heavy duty, longer lasting ones, and the end result is, if you can hear my angle grinder, this one might last another week, and frankly, it's only 2 weeks old. But running that carbide bit, it's hard on these angle grinders. One of the bigger challenges I'm going to have with this cabin, especially as it gets taller, is how to use the smaller logs along with the bigger logs as I'm stacking these walls. I have to make sure everything fits together and looks right and is structural while I'm standing up these logs. Using the weed burner to keep the ice and snow off the logs has worked great so far, but we really haven't gotten into the bad snow yet. After using the weed burner, I use a wire brush, and then my pencil marks are much more clear and easy to see. So once I set the battery in place, I discovered that the back flange would not allow the base of the battery to fit between the width of the factory battery tray. So I quickly used my angle grinder to cut about 1/2 inch off the back flange, which gave the battery plenty of room to sit where it needs to sit. Okay, so this is the factory battery cable from the 91 F250. And there's nothing wrong with the cable other than the terminals that are on them. I'm not going to use them, and they're not quite the length. You can see the ends are swelled up from oxidization in there. So I'm going to cut those off, but I'm going to reuse these cables because at the moment 2-aught cable is not cheap. So and there's nothing wrong with these cables. I'm going to reuse these cables, solder the lugs on the end, shrink wrap them, get everything ready. I think I got the brakes figured out after my wife helped me for probably, I think she said over an hour and a half yesterday. I finally got the Mighty Vac out and I just pulled all the fluid to the ends, to all four corners of the truck. And so now I have fluid there. We just have to finish bleeding them. I'm happy with the progress that we've made. I love that I didn't have to spend $165 to find a driver's side battery tray for this truck. Anyway, I'm slowly turning into a 67 to 72 Ford truck enthusiast. I always appreciated the trucks. After building this truck, I found that there's things I want to do different on the next one. So I made a deal with my son to get that second gen Cummins back. It needs a clutch. It needs some work. It's got a couple of oil leaks that have come to the surface since he's been home driving it. And I made a deal to buy it back from him. And I'm going to take the drivetrain out of that truck, get rid of that truck, and find another Bumpside to put a 12 valve with an NV4500 in it. But I first want to drive this truck. I'm not giving up on this truck just yet. I want to run this IDI around and really get used to driving this truck. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and yours, and we will see you guys in a week. I want you to try the clutch pedal just to see if you can push the clutch pedal. Good? It's a little stiff, right?
My legs are a little short.
We'll have the bench moved up more, but Rhett was acting like it was stiffer than his.
It's pretty
stiff,
yeah,
right?
It's pretty stiff, yeah.
Like not unbearable. You could drive the truck if you had to.
No, watch.
You did it.
My right leg is the one that pumps the brakes, so it's stronger than my left.
Okay, you'll have to get used to.
I did, but watch. It's
stiff. Well, you're doing good today, aren't you? All right. Okay, you know the drill. Give me 10, and I'll start with 4/4.
Do I look good like this?
Yes, you look good in that thing. Give me 10.
10?
Just 10. 10. What's that?
That's gold right there.
Have to pay me a membership or nothing.